In the mainstream entertainment industry, silence is usually a death sentence. If your face is not plastered across every billboard in Los Angeles, if you are not constantly trending on social media, and if you are not signing aggressive contracts with massive record labels, the world automatically assumes that you failed. A few years ago, a quiet, vulnerable teenager named Sophie Pecora stood under the blinding lights of America's Got Talent. She poured her heart out, captured the attention of millions, earned a legendary golden buzzer, and became an overnight sensation. And then, she seemingly vanished. The mainstream media stopped talking about her. The reality television cameras packed up and moved on to the next tragic story. If you ask the average viewer today, they would probably tell you that her 15 minutes of fame simply ran out. They think the Hollywood machine chewed her up and spit her out. But what if they are completely wrong? What if her sudden disappearance was not a failure at all? What if her silence was not a defeat, but a highly calculated, brilliant escape? Today, we are investigating one of the most fascinating disappearing acts in modern pop culture. We are going to uncover exactly how Sophie Pecora deliberately walked away from the toxic television spotlight, bypassed the dangerous traps of the corporate music industry, and quietly built an incredibly profitable empire, completely in the shadows.
Is it actually possible to lose the Hollywood game but secretly win the entire war? Let us find out. To truly comprehend the absolute genius behind her silent comeback, we must first look closely at the illusion of the mainstream music industry.
I'm doing it.
When a young artist receives a golden buzzer, the audience sitting at home assumes they are being handed a golden ticket to eternal fame and fortune. The television network parades them around, booking them on daytime talk shows and plastering their faces on promotional banners. But behind the heavy velvet curtains of the entertainment industry, the reality is incredibly grim. Rising artists are routinely presented with massive, legally binding contracts that completely strip away their creative autonomy. Record label executives, who are driven entirely by profit margins and quarterly earnings, want to actively mold these raw, authentic talents into highly manufactured products. They demand upbeat radio hits. They demand viral dance trends. They demand absolute obedience. For a deeply introspective songwriter like Sophie, who built her entire identity on expressing vulnerable, complex emotions, signing one of these standard industry contracts would have been complete artistic suicide. Many reality television stars sign these contracts out of pure desperation, only to find themselves totally trapped, unable to release the music they actually want to make. They become heavily guarded prisoners of their own sudden fame.
This is exactly where Sophie Pecora's story sharply diverges from the typical reality television tragedy. Most emerging artists are absolutely terrified of losing their momentum. They operate under the intense, daily fear that if they step out of the spotlight for even a single second, the public will completely forget they exist. The corporate industry actively weaponizes this fear, using it to force young creators into making massive, career-altering compromises. But Sophie did something that completely shocked the traditional gatekeepers. She clearly recognized that the intense, burning spotlight of mainstream Hollywood was fundamentally toxic to her creative spirit. Instead of desperately clinging to the fading television momentum, she made the highly calculated, incredibly brave decision to quietly step back into the shadows. She walked away from the massive corporate machine. To the untrained eye, and to the casual television viewer, this looked exactly like a devastating failure. It looked like she was fading into permanent obscurity. But in reality, she was meticulously laying the groundwork for an underground empire. She was not retreating, she was regrouping. Building a fiercely independent music career in the modern digital age requires an immense amount of psychological resilience. Without a massive corporate marketing budget to rely on, you have to become your own entire team. Sophie returned to the very place where she first found her voice: the internet.
But this time, she was not just a terrified teenager uploading videos from her quiet bedroom. She was a seasoned, highly aware performer with a crystal-clear vision of exactly who she wanted to be. She bypassed the outdated radio stations and the traditional media outlets entirely. Instead, she focused 100% of her energy on cultivating a direct, highly intimate relationship with her core audience. She heavily utilized platforms that allowed for direct fan support, completely cutting out the corporate middlemen who usually take the lion's share of an artist's profits. By sharing her unfiltered journey, her independent recording process, and her deeply personal struggles, she transformed casual television viewers into a fiercely loyal, dedicated digital community. This was no longer just a superficial fan base, it was a closely knit digital family. Let us look closely at the hidden economics of the music business to truly appreciate her brilliant strategy. When a young artist signs a major label contract, they typically receive a shockingly small percentage of their own royalties, sometimes as little as 15 or 20%. The corporation takes the rest of the money to cover their massive overhead and aggressive marketing costs. The artist is essentially just a poorly paid employee working tirelessly to pay off a massive corporate debt. However, as a strictly independent creator, Sophie operates on a completely different playing field. When a dedicated fan streams her independent releases, watches her YouTube videos, or purchases her merchandise directly from her platforms, she retains the vast majority of the revenue. This means she requires a significantly smaller audience to generate a highly sustainable, extremely healthy income. She completely dismantled the dangerous Hollywood myth that bigger is always better. By intentionally downsizing the scale of her operation, she massively upgraded both her quality of life and her total creative control. This specific level of financial independence is exactly what the major record labels desperately hope young artists never discover. Now, we must address the most important question of this entire investigation. Is Sophie Pecora secretly winning? To answer this, we have to completely redefine what it means to actually win in the modern entertainment industry. The old Hollywood guard will loudly tell you that success equals massive stadium tours, tens of millions of casual streams, and constant exhausting tabloid validation. But that outdated definition of success is a dangerous trap that inevitably leads to massive artist burnout and deep emotional exhaustion.
Documenter. Sophie has successfully proved that having 10,000 passionately dedicated fans who will eagerly support your independent releases, buy your merchandise directly, and connect deeply with her lyrics is infinitely more valuable than having 10 million casual viewers who only recognize her face from a television screen. By remaining completely independent, she retains total ownership of her master recordings. She retains absolute creative control over every single lyric she writes and every single video she produces. She does not have to ask a corporate executive in a glass office for permission to just be herself. In a modern industry where major pop stars are constantly fighting horrific years-long legal battles just to own the rights to their own voices, Sophie Pecora's quiet independence is not just a success story, it is an absolute masterclass in ultimate artistic freedom. The brilliant, silent comeback of Sophie Pecora serves as a profound wake-up call for absolutely anyone who thinks they need the validation of a massive corporation to prove their worth. She proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that you do not need to constantly shout to be heard by the right people. You do not need to sell your soul to sustain a profitable, deeply meaningful career. While the mainstream media is completely distracted, endlessly chasing the next temporary viral sensation, Sophie is quietly, consistently, and authentically winning the long game. She took the absolute greatest fear of every reality television contestant, the fear of being forgotten, and she turned it into her absolute greatest weapon. So the next time you wonder what happened to the quiet, bullied girl with the acoustic guitar, do not feel sorry for her. She did not lose the Hollywood game. She simply realized the entire game was rigged, walked off the field entirely, and built a massive, profitable stadium of her very own. And in this incredibly ruthless industry, that is the absolute definition of a true, undisputed winner.